The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, or merely the United Kingdom, comprises of 4 countries integrated under one monarch and government. The countries are England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. England and Wales were united in 1536. The addition of Scotland in 1707 created Great Britain, renamed the United Kingdom in 1801 when Ireland was added. Additionally, humans had populated the UK long before the British Isles broke away from the European continent. Although few written records exist in the United Kingdom's initial civilizations, astonishing monuments such as the Stonehenge, Avebury, and Silbury Hills serve as tributes to their rich and sophisticated cultures. Over the centuries, the region has gone through numerous alterations, developing from a Roman territory to one of Europe's vastest kingdoms to the world's most far-reaching empire. Primarily, the United Kingdom has historically played a chief role in emerging legislative democracy and evolving literature and science. As stated in the CIA World Factbook, its pivotal historical events emerged with the Middle Ages. After the retreat of the Romans in the 5th century, the island of Great Britain was mainly controlled by Anglo-Saxons. In 1066, William the Conqueror invaded England, welcoming centuries of rule by monarchs. The 12th, 13th, and 14th centuries saw the growth of a distinct English culture and the establishment of a system of law. Succeeding in 1485, Henry VII of the House of Tudor rose to the throne. His son, Henry VIII, broke with the Roman Catholic Church, appointing himself head of the Church of England and successfully making England a Protestant nation. Also, the 44-year reign of Elizabeth I, the last Tudor monarch, was marked by a flourishing of British literature, music, and theater. In 1649, in the midst of the English Civil War, monarchy was replaced with a republican form of government. It was then restored to power with the return of Charles II from exile in 1660. In 1707, the Treaty of Union combined the kingdoms of England, Wales, and Scotland, creating the United Kingdom. Importantly, establishment of numerous colonies and trading posts in North America and the Caribbean were created as the British Empire began to take shape. Furthermore, in the decades that followed, waves of change and unrest swept the empire, arranging the foundation for the modern British political system. In essence, Great Britain emerged as the strongest imperial power in the planet, dominating global trade and leading the world in industry and technology. Reinforced by the riches of its territories abroad and rising standards of living at home, the Victorian era thrived. The era was deeply influenced by the Industrial Revolution during the reign of Queen Victoria. According to Global Edge Research, Queen Victoria's reign witnessed the spread of British technology, commerce, language, and government throughout the British Empire, which at its greatest extent covered roughly 1/5 to 1/4 of the world's area and population. British colonies contributed to the United Kingdom's extraordinary economic growth and strengthened its voice in world affairs. Ultimately, the United Kingdom entered the 20th century as the most powerful nation in the world. The first half of the 20th century saw the UK's strength depleted in 2 world wars and the Irish Republic's withdrawal from the Union. The second half witnessed the unraveling of the empire and the UK rebuilding itself into a modern and prosperous European nation. On the domestic front, Britain's social and political institutions underwent a major transformation as women gained the right to vote, immigrants arrived from new corners of the globe, and the state became more involved in the lives of its citizens. Fundamentally, the UK is one of the most beautiful tourist destinations in Europe. It is blessed with numerous amounts of spectacular landscapes, castles, mansions, and cathedrals. The United Kingdom has other tourist attractions such as art galleries, royal palaces, national parks, and museums that enable people to experience its interesting and distinctive culture. The culture of the United Kingdom is reflected in their customs and traditions such as their cooking cuisines of the British Isles, festival celebrations for Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, and Halloween, and folk dances. Relatively, ethnic groups, languages, Christianity, religions, and the way of living in the United Kingdom showcase the cultural aspects of the UK. The UK has no official language, but about 90% of the citizens communicate in English. However, individual countries prefer their ethnic languages, so Welsh, Cornish, and Scottish Gaelic are also commonly spoken. Inclusively, the United Kingdom's history, language, and culture embraces events that designed and redesigned the world map, influential figures whose legacy remains with us today, and distinct peoples from every corner of the globe.
England has been a unified country since about the 10th century as we know it today. It's an island located off the northwestern European mainland, which is separated by the English Channel, which for centuries has been an important tool for the imports and exports of the country. There are 51 million people living on the island. That's about 50,000 square miles, which is about the same size as Louisiana, meaning that it's 5 times smaller than Texas and 74 times smaller than the United States as a whole. It's incredible that a country this size at one time ruled the world. Although their power has diminished greatly, England is still a leading power in the United Kingdom, which includes its bordering nations of Scotland and Wales, as well as the northern half of their neighboring island, Ireland. Oftentimes, people incorrectly use the term England interchangeably with Great Britain. However, Great Britain actually refers to the entire island, which is made up of the independent nation of Scotland, as well as the Principality of Wales. In fact, the flag that people generally associate with England is actually the flag of the United Kingdom and is called the Union Jack. The Union Jack is a combination of the English flag, also known as St. George's Cross, the Scottish flag, or St. Andrew's Cross, and Northern Ireland's flag, St. Patrick's Cross. All of these flags can date back to the Middle Ages, about the 16th century, and are closely tied to the Crusades, when the Crusaders wore these crosses on their uniforms to distinguish themselves from one another. In 1606, the Union flag of Great Britain was created, and in 1801, the Union Jack was created, the flag that's still used today. St. George's flag, the official flag of England, is a white flag with a perpendicular red cross. During the Middle Ages, this was also the emblem of the knighthood of the most noble Order of Garter, which still exists today as the highest order of chivalry, and includes the King or Queen of England, the Prince of Wales, and 24 other members. As patron saint of both the knighthood and of England, St. George was a crusader most well known for his legend of St. George and the Dragon, in which he saves a young princess from a merciless dragon, and in turn, the entire village converts to Christianity. St. George's Day is on April 23rd and is also the National Day of England. Many reenactments of the legend of St. George and the Dragon take place on this day. However, most English people do not celebrate the way that we do here in the United States. In fact, most do not even know when the day is and are more likely to celebrate other holidays, including Ireland's St. Patrick's Day. England is still deeply rooted in their Christian background, as it still is the official religion of the state. The national anthem is God Save the Queen. However, they also use Land of Hope and Glory and Jerusalem. In fact, a popular opinion poll was taken and Jerusalem became the national anthem of Team England during the Commonwealth Games in 2010. Their motto is Dwet de mon droit, meaning God and my right, which states the intrinsically important values to the nation. The official animal of England is the lion. It's represented on their crest as well as their coat of arms, which has a lion to represent England and a unicorn to represent Scotland. Also, they have the Three Lions crest, which is first used by Richard the Lionheart in 1189 as a symbol of strength of the English throne during the Crusades.
The United Kingdom is under a parliamentary monarchy. The head of the state is Queen Elizabeth II. The Prime Minister is Nick Clegg. The government, also known as executive, runs a country. It has been the responsibility of developing and implementing policy and drafting laws. The Parliament is the highest legislative authority in the UK. Its responsibility is to check the work of the government and examine and debate and approve new laws. For government bills, each year the government informs Parliament of its new plans for legislation in the Queen's speech. New legislation is usually introduced in the form of a bill that must be first approved by the Parliament. The UK's political system has both strengths and weaknesses. Its strengths are that the members of the House are elected by the people. The political system is held up through beliefs of free voting, free speech, and an open and equal treatment before the law. The members of the House cover a wide spectrum of people from the UK, thus giving the government a well-rounded approach to important issues. Its weaknesses are that the Prime Minister is not elected by the people. He is chosen by the largest political party in the Parliament at that time. The Prime Minister can also be replaced whenever the Parliament feels it is necessary. The King or Queen is simply ceremonial. They hold no political power whatsoever. The UK does not have a set constitution. Instead, it is based upon tradition, court rulings, common law, and practice. Thus, favoritism is a great possibility. Economy. The United Kingdom has the 7th largest economy in the world. It has the 2nd largest economy in the European Union, and it's a major international trading power. It is a highly developed, diversified, market-based economy with extensive social welfare services that provide most residents with the high standards of living. In 2010, according to the estimates by the World Bank, the United Kingdom's gross national income measured about US $30 million, equivalent to about $38,000 per person. During 2001 to 2010, it was estimated the population increased at an average annual rate of 0.6% and GDP increased by an average of 0.7%. In 2010, the principal source of imports were Germany, while the principal market for exports in that year was the US. Other major trading partners include the People's Republic of China, France, the Netherlands, Ireland, and Norway. The principal imports in 2010 were machinery and transport equipment, mineral fuels, road vehicles, and miscellaneous manufactured articles such as clothing. That same year, machinery and transport equipment were principal exports, followed by chemicals, chemical products, petroleum, and petroleum products. The United Kingdom's economy continues to recover from turmoil in the financial markets. It entered a recession in the 3rd quarter of 2008 and exited a recession in the 4th quarter of 2009. Growth since then has been irregular. It has been held back by weak credit growth and contraction in real incomes and the poor economic outlook in the United Kingdom's major trading partners. In response to the financial crisis, the British government implemented a wide-ranging stability and recovery plan that includes a fiscal stimulus package, bank capitalization, and the credit stimulus themes. Extraordinary monetary policy measures, including very low interest rates and a quantitative easing program, remain in place. Despite this, domestic demand remains weak and unemployment has yet to return to pre-recession levels, standing at 8.4% in November of 2011. The conservative Liberal Democrat coalition government that took power in May 2010 initiated a planned 5-year austerity program which aims to lower the United Kingdom's budget deficit from over 11% of GDP in 2010 to near 1% by 2015. Poorer than expected growth has met the coalition's budget deficit plans, and now it will only be met in 2016 and 2017.